Hey, Will here. It is the weekend, and as a reward for making it through the work week, I decided that I'm going to work on a fun little project, a little experiment, if you will. And I thought also at the same time, why not try to record it? You know, it might come out well, it might be a little series, who knows. So I'm going to reward myself by working on a first-person shooter. However, I'm going to try and vibe code the whole thing. I don't really do vibe coding. A little bit of background on me is I run multiple software businesses, and I work on apps and software. I code, I program, and I use things like Claude Code. However, I don't let it run rampant around my code bases. I spend a lot of time reviewing output and dealing with pull requests, in that sense, to make sure that the output coming from these AI coding agents is decent. I haven't really played much with vibe coding totally, just literally hitting enter and letting it run rampant and to see what the output is. If it's a bug, just ask it to reprompt. So I'm going to try and vibe code something very simple, a 3D first-person shooter that sits on the web. I'm going to do it with Claude Code, and I'm going to record the entire process. We'll see what comes out. It might be terrible, or it might be really good. Who knows? So I'm just going to settle in, and I'm going to code it. I'm going to snip this together into some sort of, end montage. So let me start by sharing my screen. The first step is I'm going to create the repo. I'm going to, for fun, also open source this. So if this does end up a series, you can track the code changes on the GitHub repo. So let's head over to GitHub. And the repository we're going to call it is, actually, let's jump in. Let's find a name for this. Let's go to Gemini. I need a name. A good FPS name. See what Google comes out with. I'm not going to spend too long on this because it's getting away from the fact of vibe coding. This is VoiceOver Will. He'll pop up occasionally in this video. And yeah, spoiler, I spent a really long time finding the name after all. Back to the video. Oh, I just had an idea for the FPS. It could be sort of an alternative history-based FPS. I don't know if you know much about World War II. If you don't, I won't pretend to know an awful lot about it, but obviously I'm from the UK, and the Germans never quite made it to the UK. We could have an alternative history where we lost the battle and the Germans ended up invading the UK, some sort of alternative history FPS. Let's tell that to Gemini here. I literally spent so long deciding the name that I've had to speed this next clip up by more than 10 times. However, I'm going to resume towards the end. I went through many names, asking it to generate hundreds of names for me. I didn't like any of them, so in the end, I just had to come up with one, and I'll skip towards the end for that part. I think we're just going to have to pick one. It just can't be too long. What about something just simple, like The Resistance? Yeah, let's go for that. Let's go for The Resistance. Simple, punchy. I've also think we've been trying to do this a long time. I'm going to give this title a vibe coded for fun first-person shooter playable in your browser. Yeah, something like that. Let us press create repository. Now let's head over to VS Code, go open here, and let us find the file over in my GitHub folder. The Resistance, open the folder. I'm going to close off Copilot, don't want that. I'm going to go Claude Code here. Yep, proceed. And the fun begins. I mean, this is your beautiful first prompt. What do you type? I think we're gonna have to come up with a prompt that gets the repo set up in how we want it. I think this is gonna be a multiplayer game. I think that will I obviously would like people to be able to play this, and I think that adding a multiplayer element could be a laugh, could be fun. I'm almost thinking it could be like open world, where you could choose to be the Resistance or the Nazis and go in and play sort of different roles. Maybe I'm dreaming too big, maybe I'm not. We'll find out. Let's just see what it comes out with. So hit enter on our first prompt. I'm going to have a sip of the coffee whilst we wait for Claude to run. I think that I'm going to keep going. So I pay for the $20 a month Claude Pro plan, where you get access to Claude Code. The limit, there obviously is a limit to that, and I think I'm going to keep recording till I hit that limit, and that's where I'm going to call the recording, and I might make one long video out of it, edited, and then cut it up into shorts as well. I don't know, but I think, yeah, I'll keep coding till the limit hits, because usually that's, you know, a couple of hours of coding. But again, I don't vibe code very often. I use Claude to do work, and then I review. I don't often just keep prompting and prompting and prompting and prompting. So again, what might happen is I might hit the limit really quickly. I don't know. We'll find out. In the meantime, it has created our first plan. I'm just going to hit yes and see what it does. The only time I will step in is if I see it doing something that I didn't ask it to do. So, for example, if it now starts to implement that plan, I will stop it because I don't want it to implement the plan. I just want to read the plan first of all. We do have a plan.md file. Let's have a little look at it. So, here we go. The Resistance browser FPS game plan, a first-person shooter set in post-war alternative history Britain where Nazi Germany won. Players can join as either resistance fighters or Nazi forces in an open-world multiplayer environment. Amazing. So far, so good. Technology stack. I'm going to go for Three.js or React Fiber, 3D rendering and game engine. Three.js for pure performance, or React 3 or R3F for React integration. Recommend Three.js for better FPS performance. Cannon.js or Rapier as a physics engine, collision detection, and projectile physics. Sure. WebRTC or WebSockets for real-time multiplayer communication. Vite for fast development server and build tool. TypeScript for type safety. Another thing is it hasn't really given me much of an idea about, because obviously I'm going to get models. I don't know where to get those models from. Again, that's something that I will try and use AI to do as much as possible. But yeah, again, there might need to be some planning here for that kind of stuff. So we have the development phases here. The core foundation, basic Three.js scene with FPS camera, simple player movement, basic terrain generation. I don't know what Claude means by terrain generation. I mean, I think just have a flat plane to begin with, and we'll build on it. But we'll see. Web connection setup. That'd be quite nice. Server architecture. Player synchronization, client-side prediction, basic anti-cheat measures. Yeah, so the multiplayer thing is going to be interesting. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to ask it to put it into a folder called agents. And I'm going to get to call it master plan for a second, and I'm going to get it to git ignore this as well. But you know, should we include these planning documents? I think so for fun. That way we can have a track of all these plans. This is the very first plan. I don't know if Claude will know the date. We'll find out. Just hit yes, because we hit yes on everything. It's part of the fun. Does know the date. That's excellent. Let's do that. Cool. We now have a lovely agents folder here. In it is everything that we need. Okay, great. There are some basics. I do want to vibe code almost all of this, but there are some little basics I'm just going to do to avoid pain later. For example, creating a git ignore folder, a git ignore file, sorry, so we don't end up committing node modules. So I'm just going to try and save some pain later by just doing some basics. Yeah, looks great. Let's go for that. Nice little git ignore file. And now what we're going to say is, I also like to commit little and often, so I'm going to say, can you do an initial commit to this? I'm going to be so lazy that I'm not even going to do git here. I'm going to get it to do git. It's going to waste tokens, I know, but I don't care. That's part of the fun of vibe coding, is I just go with it. Git add all looks correct. I don't know about you, but I really hate how Claude does this. Always loves to credit itself. We're just going to go with it this time. Again, I'm not going to change anything. I'm under no illusion that this is all AI generated, so I'm not going to argue with it. And we should have a commit, I think. Yeah, look, it's included itself as a collaborator. Fantastic. Let's publish the branch. And let's jump back into this. This file's no longer needed, so cool. Let's carry on. Let's hit go. Let's hit run on that. Let's go to my CC usage. See what we've got going here. Run this. I find CC usage is okay. Sometimes it doesn't know what it's talking about. Other times it's okay, but it's a good way to keep track of how many tokens you're burning. I know that I probably don't have 31 million tokens available, but I know I have a few. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to let it do what it wants. Here we go. It wants to create some directories. Client, server, shared. Christ. It's almost gone for like a mono repo setup here. Resistant server. Yeah, I've got a hosted server somewhere. I've just realized this. I'd also like, I am going to make an intervention here. I just noticed it creating the package.json with versions of 3 in there. Again, I don't know what the latest version of 3 is, but I can also guarantee it doesn't know what the latest version of 3 is. So I'll get it to install it properly. This is better. Yeah, it doesn't really know where it is at the moment. No, still can't find it. Jesus, it's going for it. It's creating a basic HTML 3GS scene. That's great. We'll see what extreme it goes to do this. Jesus, okay. We have a HTML file on the client now. Fascinating. I can already feel the refactors of all of this to get it actually on a website. That might well be the next episode. Look at this. It's going for it. It's creating a 3GS scene here. Got a source file now. Main.ts. Okay, look at this. We got some scripts going. Let's create a package.json in the read. Maybe it is going to go for a mono repo setup concurrently. I do love this. It's weird, like giving complete control to Claude Code without any sort of briefing really, other than just what I want to create. Okay, it's fairly happy that it's done it. It reckons I can simply run pnpm run dev, and it should be fine. So, key features: client, 3GS scene with basic FPS camera, WSD movement, mouse look, server express plus socket.io for multiplayer, team joining, player sync. Jesus, it thinks it's done well. The client includes basic FPS controls, WASD movement, look, pointer lock, and a simple 3D world with ground and random buildings. The server handles socket connections and multiplayer functionality. Right. Let's go to it. And let's run it. pnpm run dev. Why not? Not a good start. I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm gonna go run pnpm run dev and fix the problem. Again, I'm not even gonna attempt to solve the issue. I'm gonna leave that to Claude. Okay, let's have a little look. Let's go run pnpm run dev. Let's look at what it says I need to do. The server is running. Okay, apparently I can open this URL now, and there is going to be something to see. I believe you. Wow. Okay. Oh, to be fair, it is amazing. I will admit. Jesus, the mouse looking is a bit funky. Look at this though. Amazing. I think this is a winner. Can I run through these? I guess I can. Yeah. No. No. Look, do you know what we've got though? Is we have the start of a first-person shooter game, and the most important, I haven't written any code for it. So there are a couple of observations here. Obviously, when I look around, you can see it's doing some weird things. The next thing which you can't see is I actually have to click the mouse pad. It doesn't lock properly. It doesn't lock to my mouse position. Can I get out of it? I can, but I still have to click to use it. So before we progress, I'm going to get it to commit, and then we're going to fix these mouse lock issues. I can press escape to get out of it though, so that worked. It's fascinating what is possible with AI. I mean, I haven't written any code. I haven't even looked at the code. I don't even care. I mean, it's probably going to end up trash eventually. But it is incredible what you can do. Great. Okay, lovely jubbly. Let's move on to the next thing, which is to fix the mouse controls. Great. I'm just going to go on auto accept now. And just let it code and let it tell me when it's done. And then we'll take a little look. Okay, reckons we fixed both issues. This is where we're going to find out now. Is this true? Oh, it is. This is good. This is good stuff. What if we can add like some nice, almost camera shake? I don't know what it's like. A slight bobbing when you run. Don't know. Try it. For now, I think let's correct the scene a little bit. It's a bit dark to see stuff. Let's correct some of this lighting. But it's looking good. Let's press escape. Let's go back. After that, I might try and stick in a skybox. I have no idea what it takes to put in a skybox. I might also get it to put in an FPS counter as well, because I think that would be a useful thing to be able to keep track of. Because you can already see it's a bit laggier. Now, admittedly, that might be because my batteries are now at 20%. That might have brought up another thing that needs fixing here, is that the movement is probably not based. It's based on your FPS, not on the time that's passed. I don't know an awful lot about game development because it's been a long time since I've done it, but I know that you have to set it up to move based on time that's passed, not just your FPS, or if you have a low FPS, you'll move forward really slowly. Something like that. So we're going to do something like this. Okay, that is good though. It's fixed the buildings, it's fixed the floor, some of the shadows are less harsh. It's good stuff. Just to let you know, I am not a game developer. I develop apps and web applications more than anything. I don't really do any 3D modeling, any 3D graphics. When I was a kid, I used to want to be a game developer, and I did a little bit back then, but that's what I mean. I'm sort of running on that experience more than any recent development experience. Yeah, so if I don't use the correct terminology, then I apologize. This is one of the things about vibe coding, is there's going to be a lot of waiting whilst it does stuff. Might also, I don't know, let me know, do you think I should prompt it to abstract code as much as possible? Well, not as much as possible, but more than just build it, because I can already foresee this main file becoming gigantic. Maybe it won't, maybe it will. Cool, record is done. Perfect. I've implemented both features and FPS counter out in the top right corner with monospace font. Updates every second showing the current FPS. Position with CSS styling, lovely. Time-based movement changed from frame-based to time-based movement using delta time. Movement speed is now 5 units per second, consistent regardless of the FPS. Calculate delta time between frames in a second. It should feel much more responsive and consistent. And you can monitor performance with the FPS counter. Okay. I'm just going to trust it. Feels a bit faster. Again, I don't know. I won't plug my laptop in just yet to charge, but we'll trust it. Looking good. What to do next? Should we do a Skybox? God, this has been the world's your oyster at the moment. I kind of think we should probably get as many of the underlying mechanics in as possible. I quite like the lighting to be more sunsetty. I don't know how to do it though. I'm going to ask it to be more sunsetty and maybe get a Skybox in. Try it. I'm going to ask it once it's committed this how I put a Skybox in. I just feel like that would look nice. More than like the random like cyan color sky. Yeah, great. Just love it. Not even reading it. I'm just letting it commit and do whatever it wants. I love this. It's so dangerous. It's such bad practice. For a Skybox, you need 6 texture images to form a cube. Jesus, that sounds complicated. That is not something that I know how to do. Before, I'm just going to intervene. Can I do this with one JPEG image? I have literally no idea if I can. I'm just asking it to save my life, because if I now have to create a ton of images, then voiceover will hear again. You may be hearing from me on here a little bit more. The act of plugging my laptop in apparently knackered the audio with my recording software, and it went and switched to record the audio through my AirPods. I'll keep what I can, but I might be doing a little bit more voiceover from here on in. Sounds good. Sounds like it knows what it's doing. Yes, please. Yes, please implement. From here, it sent me on a mission. It gave me a website to try and find a Skybox on, so that's what I did. I headed over there and I browsed a bunch. Like the naming thing, apparently picking a Skybox was more important to me than I thought. I spent ages looking for a good one. However, I finally landed on a nice sunset panorama. It should look really good. And then I proceeded to ask Claude how I actually got that down, because there were several different options. There was one for different file formats, different file sizes, and I frankly didn't know which one to download. So that was the next step. Okay, HDR. Excellent. Okay, 2K. Excellent. See, Claude knows what it's doing. Let's download the 2K HDR image. I then spent the next eternity trying to get the Skybox to work and look like it did on the website. You'll see in the time-lapse in the background, it went from being really blown out to incredibly dark, the environment being incredibly dark, or the sky being too bright, various permutations where Claude really struggled to deal with the HDR setup. Because I was hoping I could just drag and drop in a JPEG, which Claude did set up as well, but the Skybox I downloaded was a .hdr format, which had a high dynamic range, and Claude really struggled to get the balance right, and I just wasn't quite happy with how it was looking compared to the site. In the end, I had to settle for somewhere in the middle. I think it looks okay. I think it looks really good. But yeah, it took a long time, a lot of prompting to get it there. I was restarting the server, shutting it back down again, and nothing seemed to be helping. It was either too dark or too bright, and it wasn't as detailed as the website. And yeah, it was a little frustrating, but towards the end of this time lapse, it did all come together. It did look really nice, just in time for me to realize my mic had stopped recording and all the audio was through AirPods, which you'll hear now. So I did just have to stop recording and start re-recording because it booted my mic off and it was using my AirPods as the mic, which is just awful. We'll find out. I seriously hope not, but it might have. In which case, I will give you a quick rundown of where we're at. We are coding an FPS. We're vibe coding it using just Claude Code, which is fascinating because my day-to-day job is I normally code, and I use AI, but I do a lot of code review, and I very rarely let Claude Code or any other coding tool just run and do whatever it wants without looking at the output. So I'm creating an FPS, a 3D game using Claude Code. We'll see where we end up. It's going to be fun. Currently, at the moment we are just getting a skybox in. We've got some ground. We're getting some lighting going. This looks like it's going to be good. The ground is very dark. I can't actually see the shadows that it's generated on these makeshift buildings. So we'll see if it can correct that. Yes. Getting somewhere now. This is kind of epic. Everything looks a little bit too brown. I'm guessing that's the sunset light. It's meant to be grey, apparently. Dear God. Okay. This is looking good. This is looking much brighter in life. I think this might be our final version for a second. We've got shadows. Does it procedurally generate where the buildings go? I think it does. Fantastic. I think this is going to be a good place at the moment. So, just to summarise, we have been building the Resistance, an FPS game, which is going to be set in post-World War II Britain, where the Nazis actually won the war. It's going to be multiplayer. You're going to be able to run around and shoot other people. You can choose to be part of the Resistance or part of Nazi Germany, whichever one you'd like to be. There's also going to be like a solo player and AI in here as well, so there's not too much stress on getting people into the server room to play. And yeah, it's going to be a first-person shooter. It's entirely built by Claude Code. Literally, I'm just going to be prompting it. So far, I've not written a single line here. What you see on the screen is what we have at the moment. And let me just give you the full widescreen view of this. It's looking nice. We have a skybox. We have buildings. Terrible buildings. We'll switch it out in a bit. But it's looking really, really good. So I don't know if this is going to be a shorts series or it's going to be a long YouTube video. Hard to say at this point. But yeah, I just thought I'd jump on and record it and see what's out. I'm going to leave this be. I'm quickly going to get Claude Code to commit this. And we'll call it there for a sec and pick it up next time. Maybe we'll get the weapons in next time, as well as some other things. Make the map bigger, do some map planning. I don't really know what to do there as well, but I do like this idea of being like an open world game where you run around and you shoot and you do things. There's obviously a lot more to sort, but yeah, I am constantly blown away by the quality that Claude Code can bring out and how easily you can get started with it. I mean, it's definitely not recommended that you just have auto accept on and you just vibe code your way to whatever you're doing, but it is incredible what you can create. I think the end result is probably going to be a mess. We'll see, maybe. Again, I don't know whether we managed to get the recording properly, but this is going to be open sourced, so you'll be able to access the code and see what a dreadful mess it's going to end up. But yeah, it's all good fun. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I don't know if this is going to be a YouTube video or several shorts or what, so I'll just record this in case. But I'll catch you in the next video.